What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and let's dive straight into things. So before I get started, I did just start recording my video and realized my mic wasn't on. So I'm just going to go over everything I have marked out pretty quickly, and it's going to be pretty basic. But any questions, don't hesitate to drop in the comments. I'll make sure to keep an eye out. So first, I looked at the weekly, and I'm looking at this sell side liquidity to get traded down into. However, I was looking at the current trading range that we're in. So if we look at dollar right now, this is the lowest low and this is the highest high. So basically what's typical for price, once we run through a 50% level, which is what has just happened about 4 weeks ago, price tends to return back to equilibrium and then trade lower. So with that taken into account, I'm not necessarily anticipating us to run this sell side liquidity straight away, and there's potential for a pullback first. So with that in mind, I then looked at the weekly, and you can see that we have a large wick right here on the weekly. So I'm looking for price to trade down into this weekly consequent encroachment, which is the midpoint. And then I want to pay close attention to see how it reverses off the back of it, or whether it can do so. Now, do take into account it is non-farm payroll week, so we can anticipate movements like this. But overall, I'm looking to see if price can draw into this, and then I want to pay close attention to the reaction to see if we're either going to run it and then run out these sell stops as I was speaking about, or price will be able to bounce off it and we can start thinking about more premium PD arrays, such as the 50% level of the range and such as this large gap that we have going on right there. So let's go down to the daily. Hope that will make sense. And then this is that same consequent encroachment, and we're currently trading in a bearish fair value gap. So why is this bearish fair value gap? Well, there's a gap. Price traded on the upside, completely disregarded it today on Monday. So when price returns to it, I'm expecting it to act bearishly. So this will be the highest I'd want to see price trade moving into tomorrow, with the expectation that we're running to this consequent encroachment first. Let's go to the 4 hour. And you can see this much more detailed. There's some buy side above there that price may want to tap and run first, but then overall I'm looking for us to run below these lows, fill this fair value gap, and again tap into this range where we have some mitigation, where smart money may be accumulating again. So overall, moving into Tuesday, I am expecting a down day. I'm expecting price to continue to fold over and run lower, take out these sell stops below this low where we have another gap. There's also sell stops below here, so there's 2 points, significant lows where price will want to run. But overall, I'm expecting price to rally slightly and then just run lower as we move into Tuesday. And then depending on how we treat this, which is also an inversion gap on the hourly, depending on how we treat this range, I want to see if price can get out of it, find its support, and then non-farm payroll may send it higher because we do have some gorgeous relative equal highs up here. But I'm not going to talk too much about any kind of bullish PD arrays for now, just because we're clearly on the sell side and price is going to be hunting for sell stops and sell side liquidity. So right now my focus is this low, and this consequent encroachment from the weekly on dollar. So I hope that all makes sense. I should be interested nonetheless. And you can see there's also a bearish order block which has been created over here as well. So in fact, this these two up close candles are bearish order blocks, so we can mark this out, and you can see how that's blended nicely into our range where we're expecting resistance. So moving into tomorrow, when price starts reaching up into this range, this is where I'd be looking for shorts. So depending on the time of day and how we're trading in this range, I'd want to see, okay, if price can maintain itself, then there's no reason we can't find a setup within that, with the expectation to run our sell stops below here, and then again deeper into where we want to see price potentially reach. So let's move on to GBP USD. I have started marking out here as well. We'll start on the weekly the same way, and I've marked out the fair value gap and a bearish order block. So this is the fair value gap which I've got marked out right here. So we've just tapped into that today, but I'm looking for us to fill the fair value gap. So can price push up and close that fair value gap in completely? And then if it can run that, then I'd be wanting to see if it can tap into that bearish order block as well. So let's go down to the daily. And you can see a very large expansion today on Monday. But again, I'm expecting a continuation moving into the new day to fill that gap. And then we also have a breaker, high, low, higher high. So if it does manage to run that bearish order block, it's also a breaker on the lower time frames, which makes it more strong and sensitive to price. So let's go to the 4 hour. There's not really much here other than the expansion that we can see. And again, my anticipation that price is just going to roll over and attempt to fill the fair value gap. So yeah, when you see price move like this on a Monday, it's in a rush to get somewhere. And that's probably because we're going to have a reversal later on in the week, maybe on Thursday or on the back of non-farm payroll. So that's just something to take into account. But it's very typical that when you see price move this fast on a Monday, they're up to something. They obviously want to send price to a certain level quickly so that they can start doing what they need to do. So that's why I'm expecting price to just continue rallying. without much retracement, fill the fair value gap, and then we can start thinking about potential discount PDRAs. And again, we're starting to see how they're engineering in this relative engineer in sell side liquidity. Like, look at these lows below here, these lows below here. There's going to be lots of stops below there, but it won't trade to these stops until it's done with its buy program. Right now, price is in a buy program, so it needs to get to its target. These are weekly targets here and here, so then they should be very sensitive to price to help send it lower, and then this would be the start of its run into the sell program ideally. Now, this is all ICT's concepts for the record, but that's how I'm looking at it. If we just remember that it's an algorithm and assume that it's going to stay in a buy algorithm till it's finished, a buy program, until it's finished its job, then there's no reason we should be looking for shorts, etc. In line with dollar, as I was saying, rolling over lower. And another thing to take note of is look at how dollar has failed to take out these lows where we're expecting a reversal. Look at how dollar's failed to take out these lows, but GBP's rallying. What's that saying? They're saying that dollar's not happy to, dollar's showing strength, which is going to force pound and euro to pull back eventually. But we can talk more on that later this week, so make sure to turn on post notifications. Let's finish up on euro USD. You'll see that euro is struggling to trade higher as well, so pound is the one on smoke as per usual. We'll start on the weekly, and similar to dollar, I'm looking at this long. When we have silly long wicks like this is really long, it's very good to split it into its consequent encroachment, because it makes it more sensitive to price. Wicks are gaps too, so this would be the midpoint of a fair value gap essentially, so we're expecting that price should tap that and then be able to react off the back of it. So that's what I'm paying my attention to on euro USD. Let's go to the daily, and I'm expecting again an up close day ideally on Tuesday to start pushing in towards that range, and then as we drop down to the lower time frames, we should be able to identify some PDRAs up there that price may want to actually refer to, such as an inversion fair value gap right here. Why is it an inversion? Upside, look how price trades on the downside, upside, downside, leaves it, taps it. So when price returns to it, we expect it to continue to tap it. We've got some highs above here. We've got another gap above here. So there's reason as to why price may want to keep pushing up into that. And then on the hourly, again, it's just a consolidation. There's not really too much to go off. But overall, I'm just expecting a continuation higher. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put my daily dividers up. This will be useful for us this week. We'll just get Monday, Sunday and Tuesday marked out just so we have an idea of where price is. And there's a lot of news this week, so we expect volatility. And then where's our most nearest bullish order block? Right here. So we anticipate that this bullish order block can provide support. So if price retraces down into this, moving into tomorrow, that's where I'd expect my setup to form at the right time, assuming. And then I want to see us take out this buy side liquidity above here, in line with dollar dropping lower. And then I want to see if we can also run out this high above here, again aligned with dollar trading lower. But other than that, this bullish order block will need to hold price, if so. And then again, we've got some gorgeous relative equal lows below here, but I'm not going to talk about these until price is done on its buy program. Remember, it needs to seek some kind of internal liquidity, high, low. So this is internal, and then it will seek external, which would then be these lows. But yeah, make sure to hit subscribe, turn on post notifications, drop a like, drop a comment, smash subscribe. You don't want to miss the videos this week. Should be quite insightful. And yeah, my setup, hopefully I'm going to be looking around 2 a.m, 3 a.m for the classic setup. And then again, I'm looking for these stops to be ran. We've got some gaps around for us to try and fill. And it'll be nice to see if it can tap into this level, as I was saying, up here. So yeah, that's going to be everything, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.